This dash cam of Australia video was going around. This bloke, speaking of tailgating, this bloke probably needs to just calm down a bit.
I'm a fuel-injected suicide machine.
He's in a 60 zone. I don't know why he's so far up the butt of this car. He's getting that close at one point. At one point, he actually looks like he touches him. I don't think he does, or he gets a brake check or something. But they're in a low speed zone. It looks like there's traffic around. It's not like he's just hogging a lane. And he's that aggressive, he actually taps the bloke, and good old Ford Ranger, the Road Rager, the airbags go off. It didn't even look like it.
Oh, that one, yeah.
It didn't even look. It didn't even look like it damaged the car, and both airbags went off, and it was just hysterical. It's like, good on you, champ. Welcome back to Bench Talk. As usual, it's been far too long, but I'll throw you under the bus every day of the week. It's all your fault.
Some of us have to leave the house and actually do stuff, Jordan.
Yeah, whatever. Luke, have you seen the sheer terror that is unfolding on Australian roads? Saw this article by The Age. So let's see what this rag says. Why is everyone buying Truckzillas that are too big for our streets? You're far more experienced with these Truckzillas than I am, Luke. So what are your thoughts on these?
Well, I like the American ones. You know, the big, you know, the Tundras and Silverados and all that, because they've got a, you know, they've got a V8 in them or a decent engine. They tow well. I don't like the dual cabs that much. I don't really rate them, but look, they're popular. I think the biggest problem, everyone says they're too big. I think one of the biggest problems with them, everyone says they're too big, they don't fit in car parks. I think the car parks are actually too small. If you get big cars now and put them next to each other, when were the car park size designed in? 1960s or something?
I find that too. The car parks are way too small.
The car parks are too small.
But Luke, irrelevance. This is, mind you, this is an article by a Monash University lecturer, so it's just setting the tone, right?
So, yep.
Look, while driving recently, you may have noticed some huge vehicles on the road. Perhaps you've seen an enormous, shiny SUV too wide to fit in a turning lane. Rubbish. Or maybe you've held your breath, while overtaking a vehicle that feels more like a tank than a normal car. So just hit pause, hang on. So what is this guy going to do if he hits the highway and he has to overtake a B-double? I mean, let's be fair, the type of car he's driving, I don't think it'd have the grunt to even accelerate to overtake.
You lost me when you said some academic from a uni. As soon as I hear that, I'm just like...
This isn't even hyperbole. The largest Toyota Hiluxes are now around the same size as a Sherman tank used during World War II. I looked it up. A Sherman tank is roughly about 6 meters long.
A Hilux is 6 meters long.
I don't think they are. The funny thing is, it has a photo of the tank, but then it has a photo of not a Hilux. It's like a big American truck.
So what's his gist? He's saying what he's saying there shouldn't be on the road, or what's he? This is just coming from a typical bloke who's just a pen pusher at a desk, doesn't get out in the real world and actually see that people have to make a living doing stuff and need Utes. No one's forcing you to buy the Ute, champ. Just go and buy your Nissan Leaf and just toddle on off.
I'm an electric car. I can't go very fast or very far.
Over the past few decades, we have grown a lot bigger. And say that again, a lot of our units walk in the streets these days. Actually, they're not walking anywhere. But with the introduction of massive Dodge, Ram and Ford F-150s, weighing in up to 3 tons, we might have reached the absurd extreme. It turns out that they're not just an oversized annoyance, they're also dangerous. Car crashes are now the leading cause of death of an Australian child, and these monster trucks are their deadliest incarnation. But look, hang on. So he states that the kids are being killed by these cars, or should I say vehicles. But if you look at the stats, it doesn't even kind of go into the details of the vehicle. It just mentions that...
Of course it doesn't.
It just mentions that
cherry picking 101.
SUVs are involved in more accidents.
That's because more people drive SUVs.
Exactly. Like the stats, you start breaking them down going, yeah, as usual. One study found that kids are 8 times more likely to die when hit by an SUV compared to a normal passenger car?
Murder, death, kill,
Here we go again with the 8 times, huh?
8 times what? Never mentioned. Never mentioned
8 times what?
60% of the time, it works every time.
8 times 0.000. Just keep adding zeros of a percentage.
19, 5, 6, and 7, and 8.
I'd have to make the assumption, Jordo, if a toddler is hit by a car, they're going to be in a bad shape. Shouldn't it be on the onus on the parent to hang on to the toddler? Like that crash the other day where the kid runs out in the road? Give me a spell.
They're not all toddlers. The kids is up to, I think, 12 or 14 years old. So why have these vehicles become more popular in Australia? For car manufacturers and dealers, the answer is easy. They make a lot of money selling Truckzillas, which can cost into the 6 figures than cheaper alternatives. Consumers have therefore seen a decline in smaller, lighter options.
What is this guy going on about?
That doesn't make sense.
He's also throwing in kind of Hiluxes and stuff too into the same bucket as a Dodge Ram. They're not even comparable for size.
No.
But Hiluxes and Rangers and all those tradie pickups, they dominate this car sales in Australia now, like by a mile. I think 4 out of the top 10 vehicles are Utes.
Now, this bloke is saying that they're selling well because the manufacturers are making a lot of money on them. What is he going on about?
Pickup truck owners will often say their motivation is greater towing and loading capacity, but the truth is some people just like to feel big on the road. No, they're not buying these things because they want to feel big on the road. They actually do use them.
Well, even if they're not using them off-road, it's their choice to buy them.
Luke.
Look, I wouldn't buy one. I don't like them, but the bloke next door can buy one. How does that affect me? I don't care.
Luke, they're more likely to be hauling a huge ego than a large load.
God. I love the fact that anyone who drives like a ute truck pickup or a sports car somehow has some ego. Maybe they just like the car for a number of reasons and don't want to drive some buzzbox Nissan Leaf.
I was listening to it. There's also an audio interview with this guy. He doesn't even own a car. He catches public transport.
Just out of interest, Julian, what do you drive?
I like to get around on the Melbourne tram. Is my vehicle of choice.
You don't have a car?
My partner has a station wagon.
It's not just the damage to people and the quality of street life that these vehicles are impacting. If SUVs were a country, they would be the 6th largest emitter on Earth. What a stupid statistic.
Sounds like he just needs to go and eat some bugs, Jordo.
Road safety affects all of us, and we need to make our streets work for the most fragile bodies in the community, not the most fragile egos. He's again with the ego. He's just obsessed that people who drive these pickups are just what? Neanderthals?
Get her done!
This is a classic case. This guy's written this big opinion piece. How many ute owners do you reckon he spoke to before he wrote the article? I don't know. I'll tell you. None.
But forget the article, the comments is where it's at. The comments by this rag just sums up the type of people who they love the boot.
And here we go.
The vehicle in the photo is obstructing traffic, should be booked. Hang on, in the photo, they've reduced that area and slammed a bike lane in, so it's reduced the width of the car spaces effectively over time. And so now it looks like the truck is hanging out of the lane and its tyres are in the bike lane.
Where are you supposed to put it then? It's somehow their fault they make the parking lanes too narrow.
Our governments have fallen behind. I visited LA last week. LA. And the electric cars are very popular. Big Hilux style tradie Utes is not as popular. So you're using Los Angeles as an example? Really?
I'm an electric car.
You mustn't have travelled too far because, you know, LA has a couple of pickups on the roads. Hey, hang on. Did this guy drive on the roads over there or did he go and get his public transport?
No.
Even gone on the roads.
These are comments by the readers. I am now in London and small cars with small efficient engines are popular. What's that got to do with our tradie Utes here?
I don't understand why people continually compare other countries to our countries.
Say that again.
To our countries with stuff like this. It's just mind-numbing.
Ban them, tax them to hell, tax them hard. Tax them so hard that they are priced out of feasibility.
Just loves licking that boot.
Needs to be limits about where these oversized vehicles are allowed to drive. No concessions should be made to accommodate these vehicles. It will only encourage them. They already get stung more on the toll roads, don't they? Because they're a commercial vehicle. They pay more to use the toll roads.
If they're a commercial vehicle, they would pay more in tolls, yeah.
This is a good one. Hopefully cars like the Aptera that can weigh around 1 ton solar car, which has a very low drag coefficient for a 2-seater vehicle, starts being mass produced and doesn't take too long to arrive in Australia. So
that's going to be popular.
So look, I looked up this car. It looks like something that you would compete in the World Solar Challenge. This is totally just unicorns and rainbows. It's sad wealthy billionaires, i.e. Bill Gates, that claim to care about climate action, hasn't invested around 100 million already that could have started mass production. So first of all, it's Bill Gates' fault that this company hasn't gone on to bigger and better things. What's it up? You're telling him how to spend his money. News for you, I think old Billy Boy's too busy catching flights to other places. Have you seen the TV ad for Dodge Ram?
So you really needed a Hemi V8, did you?
Get in.
The ad is a direct appeal to the pubescent boy that feels inferior and is desperate to get attention. Big SUVs mean that in Australia it'll be harder to attain fossil fuel reduction targets than in most countries. As long as there are little men with low self-esteem, you will have a ready market for these look-at-me toys. It's all about the ego for these people. They think this is why they're buying these vehicles. So not about the need they might have to tow a massive horse float or something.
Yeah.
Because the inner city latte sipping wankers are telling people how to live their lives.
They want to tell you how to run your life. But people like us, you go buy whatever car you want. I couldn't care less. But you know, you're not. If they're telling you, you know, you've got to buy this. That's going to get banned. They just love control. Total control freaks.
This one's a pearler. I love how they give them such infantile, tough names like Raptor, Rogue, and Ram. If there were any truth in advertising, the buyers of these little trucks, I don't know why they're calling them little. They're trying to just be condescending, are they? If there were any truth in advertising, the buyers of these little trucks would be owners of the Toyota Toxic Masculinity, the Ford Road Ranger, or the Dodge Stuff the Planet, available with the optional Climate Denier Action Pack. Ugh, jeez. It reminds me of the last bench talk with those fossil fuel ads, the fake ones. That's actually pretty creative, this person's written there.
Yeah.
Like, apparently these cars should only be available to traders, I think they mean tradies, and require a special license. Why would you need a special license? Clearly this person's never hired a small truck and moved house. You don't need a special license. That is one thing Australia is not short of: bogans, and they are everywhere. Listen to the sheer attitude of these readers.
The next time they're tap stripping and they don't know how to change the washers, are they going to be given the bogan turning up in their Toyota Hilux crap who's going to fix their plumbing?
Don't you know anything? They should just be putting all their tools in the back of the Toyota Corolla. What the hell's your problem?
No, they're going to put them in that solar car.
I just power up the flexi grips. And I'm ready to go. Thank you, it.
If family-related purchasing decisions are driven by females, why are car salesmen, and I mean men, is that white men, still so condescending to female buyers?
I'm sorry, it's the pleats.
They just make up stuff in their head, and it's true. What are they basing that comment on? So you go into a car dealership and the salesmen are completely condescending to women. But what are they going on
What's
about?
this got to do with someone buying a Dodge Ram? Like, the comments get so far away from the actual story, it's hilarious. And then there is the byproduct, the destruction of our road surfaces. Our road designs are not for these monoliths. I can't even say this. Being driven at speed with the end result being high level road damage. Registration fees based on weight would be a good start, and the equivalent of an extra luxury car tax on these behemoths.
Do you have something that's better than the land behemoth?
Yes, we do. That would be the ultimate behemoth.
So they don't have any idea about how heavy electric vehicles are, do they?
Look, don't get truth in the way there. These vehicles are monstrosities on many levels.
Behold! Didn't she look at this thing? He says, can you man built this? It's a vehicle.
To drive one, you should have to sit additional driving tests to demonstrate you know what you are doing. Oh, you mean like all these losers who can't even come onto a freeway at 100 Ks?
Freeway.
And if it's to be registered in a metropolitan area and then demonstrate why you require one. They actually want you to justify your car purchase.
Lick them that way. Lick them this way.
Tradies don't need them. 40 years ago, most tradies survived fine with panel vans and much smaller utes. Families don't...
No worries, Dredo. Just go buy a panel van.
Yeah, I know. Look, and families don't need SUVs. Buy a station wagon. Just the fleet of station wagons available to you to this day. Where are they all?
I actually agree with that comment. I don't like SUVs.
No, I hate SUVs.
But you can only buy what the market dictates, can't you?
The state control just keeps on going with these people. I mean, and you wonder why we're locked down for so long.
The schizophrenic psycho, yeah.
Perhaps towing a 3-ton caravan is not a basic right.
You learn, you scum, you civilian trash.
Jordy, these comments, Jordy, just hit pause. These comments sum up as to why our government is still the same as it was 2 years ago, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I got no water. My trusty green top cup out. But like all barrows, it's pretty much broken after 3 weeks.
Look, the control continues. Get this. Public education and redirection are very necessary here.
How many fingers am I holding up?
So what really concerns me is the number of young people I see driving large Land Cruisers, etc. And they're not tradies. So look, if you're not a tradie, I can tell when I see a couple driving around that, obviously this guy's an accountant because he doesn't have his high-vis on. I mean, that means he's definitely not a tradie, just driving around with the missus. I'm spending over $30,000 to electrify my home in conjunction with solar panels. At my age, I will never recoup the capital outlay, but feel very strongly about doing my bit for the environment. Then I see the next generation driving around town in these behemoths, and some of which don't have tow bars, by the way, and I think, really, why am I bothering?
Does this lady realise you can remove the tow bar? You don't always need the tongue, and you don't need it on the truck all the time.
Well, look, she can take one look and know what occupation this person is.
Well, I guess you're only allowed to drive it if you are physically towing.
Finally, a real comment. These so-called bad vehicles are the biggest selling in the country. Why? Because people like them. This article is just more nanny state activism. All we seem to hear these days is ban, ban, ban.
Pretty simple, but the guys bang on.
Frustrated drivers say the Burnley Tunnel's new pace-setting lights are failing to improve traffic flow.
The high-tech system was turned on this week, but so far it's done little to ease the bottleneck near the tunnel exit.
Look, did you see this one? They're actually trying to get you to speed up on the road. Can you believe this? $13 million. I went through this a couple of weeks ago. I can tell you firsthand, it did absolutely nothing. And these lemmings on the road, as usual, were doing, I think I got down to, it was an 80 zone through the tunnel. And so you won't do 80 down the hill, everyone's braking, but it's not bad, you might do 75. As soon as you hit the hill, no one has a brain that they need to use the accelerator. I don't know why people just don't put the cruise on either. It's like, no. I think I looked up, we're doing 47 up the hill, and the so-called green lights are just flying past us. At the end of the day, the drivers in Australia, they're just shocking. Shocking. Same idiots come onto the freeway, don't even get me started. 30 under the limit, I don't get it.
Well, how fast is the solar car going to go up the hill through the tunnel? We're going to be battling to do 47, Jordan.
13 million bucks on some fancy lights. And as if people know what a lot of people, unless you saw some news article, why would you even know what they are? You're in the tunnel, there's just some green lights flying past you.
There's been quite a few news articles about that, and that wasn't, that was paid by...
That wasn't the government.
Who does the toll again?
Transurban or whatever
Toll company, Transurban, whatever paid for it. Hey, I do appreciate them making an effort. It just goes to show that even they know how bad the drivers are.
On the topic of the tradie Utes, you did a video on Zane from Max Performance. He got his Raptor into the 12s. Want to impress me? Then add P-plates, a jet ski, doing 130 on the M5, weaving in and out of lanes. Imagine how far up your date that'd be tailgating you. How about some news that's not new cars? What's the other thing we always cover? EVs, yeah. People love the electric vehicles. I saw a bunch of big dyno pulls on social media last few weeks. The Don, that's the Matux Pro Mod RB. I love that it's an RB because everything is 2J and they're the kings of the RBs. 2,800 horsepower on the dyno, 91 PSI it was on. That's 300 more horsepower than when it ran 582 at 247. So that thing's going to be going past 250, I reckon. And you saw this car in Orlando, didn't you? But back then it had a 2J in it.
Had a Toyota style front nose on it, and it was running that weekend. It was running like consistent 560s at 200 and like 255 plus. Yeah, it's a pretty fast car. I think one run it went 262.
This was incredible. Speed Factory, they've got that all-wheel drive Civic. The impressive part about this is it's not using the, K-Swap the World. It's still using the original B series that came out in it. I mean, I'm sure it's all billet, obviously, but 2,200 horsepower from a B series Honda. 87 PSI at 10,500 RPM.
Honda 4-cylinders make power like 6-cylinders, don't they? Amazing engines.
So far this car has gone 691 at 198 mile an hour, but it's also gone as fast as 209 mile an hour.
209
mile an hour all-wheel drive Civic.
Wow, yeah.
It's currently the quickest all-wheel drive 4-cylinder in terms of ET. I saw another billet Barra block get released on the internet last week. So there's now, I think, 3 Australian companies that are building billet Barras.
Billet Barra.
And it has stock engine mounts, so it can bolt into where, because realistically, if a regular Barra doesn't make enough power for your street car, you can have this one set up because you need even more power in the street Barra.
Yeah, but we're talking street cars here or what?
I think I was talking crap earlier. How can it not be a bench talk without an EV story?
God, please, no!
That Rimac Navera, that's that ridiculously...
I don't think it's called a Rimac. Is that the Aussie
Rimac.
way of pronouncing it?
Rimac. In one day, apparently it broke 23 world records doing an acceleration test.
Rubbish, not interested.
Not fun at all.
Not interested. I'm not impressed. Not impressed at all. Not impressed. What does it do? I think it does 100 miles an hour in is it under 3 seconds?
Here are some stats. It went from 0 to 400 kilometers an hour and then back to a dead stop in 29.9 seconds.
That's not impressed at all by that. Giotto, let's be serious. It's got nothing on that patrol. What was that doing? 480 over the Mooney Bridge?
Mate, the Nissan Patrol eats it in 3rd gear while it's in top.
Here are the crappy stats, Luke. Just 0 to 100 in 1.82 and 0 to 200 in 4.4.
And a 6-cylinder turbo diesel just goes straight past it in 3rd hole, mate, and leaves it for dead, mate.
Luke, this is a very popular sticker. The old Barra says. Now,
I've got them in air fresheners too.
But I recently did it, you can't tell, but this is an actual clear version. So it's not white like this, it's clear, so it is more suited for glass, I guess, but get on it. These are brand new.
Pull it off and stick it on your face.
I'm not sticking it on my face.